Hello, and thank you for joining us on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Rich Marriott, and here's what we're tracking for you this morning. Wet weather was the theme last week, and after a few cool and dry days, rain is making a comeback. Find out how much and how soon that rain is going to hit the western part of the U.S. And while we're getting ready for the rain, Kentucky was pummeled yesterday with heavy rainfall sparking flash flood warnings, the near records they hit and the damage it caused. Plus, how much of this rain can be attributed to tropical storms and hurricanes? We give you an outlook for the tropics right now. And later, fall is in full swing, which means it's pumpkin season. Meet the main man growing pumpkins the size of small cars. Good morning and welcome to Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. We start today in Arizona, where they're expecting a variety of weather from the heat to the clouds and the rain. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries has the forecast in Phoenix.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries. We'll look at your weather out west across Arizona, where we have some major changes. In the next 72 hours, we are going from highs that are going to hit triple-digit status into potentially flooding, all because of some tropical moisture that is now moving our direction. And not only do we have a round of moisture coming through on Friday, but we're going to see this Saturday and Sunday as well. So major heads up. Not only do you need to have your umbrella handy, but you need to have a way to get weather alerts, because that's the kind of system that's rolling on through here. We could be talking about some flash flooding, not again just starting on Friday, but lasting through Sunday. Meantime, look at the forecast highs today and understand, while this is a late season heat hit for us, this is not record territory. While we are talking about 100 degrees in Phoenix on this Wednesday, I've got 99 in Buckeye, about 98 in Surprise, 97 for Scottsdale, 96 in Apache Junction, 98 for Queen Creek, and right about 100 degrees today in Maricopa. We are going to start to see a few clouds a little bit later today. Now you'll notice these clouds are kind of broken apart. They're called altocumulus clouds, and they are a sign that cooler air is on the horizon. Again, we're not feeling that impact today, but it's just kind of a forecast tool that you know what's coming. As far as where we should be this time of the year, low 90s, 92 degrees, which means the bulk of our day should be in the 80s with overnights in the upper 60s. But clearly, with cloud cover, with tropical moisture coming our direction, temperatures are going to take a hit. Now, as far as records go, records are at about 108 degrees. So it's not record heat, but it's above the normal range. And notice we are already dropping into the 90s by about the noon hour, looking to peak at 4 o'clock. But then those clouds are going to start building in today, and we've got a chance at some thunderstorms as early as tonight. Now, it's minimal, only about a 20% opportunity, but because of the cloud cover and this tropical moisture, our overnight lows only getting down into the upper 70s, when again we should be in the upper 60s. So we're about 10 degrees above the normal range during the day and night. Now, as far as the wind goes, watch for the wind to start developing in the higher elevations. For the valley, the low desert, we're really not looking for much wind until late day, because that's when we potentially could see some thunderstorm action. But look across Arizona tomorrow. Big changes on the horizon. We've got healthy rain developing, especially in the higher elevations through the rim into high country. And as a result, temperatures are going to start coming down. As you can see, we've got double digits across the board. So let me map it for you. You can see by tonight, 7 o'clock, we've got some showers approaching to the east side of the state through the rim. Then this is really going to start getting a little more active by Thursday evening, with higher elevations, our prime candidate. But again, the valley, we could be seeing some pop-up showers. And then, yes, it starts to get really interesting overnight. Friday early morning, we've got some healthy moisture surging on through, and we're just going to continue to see waves of this starting on Friday, taking us through Sunday. That's going to be the heaviest saturation. Rainfall totals looking rather impressive. As you can see, some of the region needs to prepare for up to 3 inches of rain. In the last 24 hours, forecast models have really ramped up. We are looking for 1.5 inches here in Phoenix and possibly up to 4 inches of rain in Apache Junction. And again, this spans the next 72 hours. It should take us through Sunday. So I'm talking about Friday through Sunday but still, no matter how you slice it, these rainfall totals could lead to some flooding. So having said that, as we take a look at the next 7 days, you can see temperatures are coming down dramatically from the 70s into the 50s for the higher elevations. And for the valley, we have a weather impact alert starting on Friday through the weekend, all because of the flood potential coming in.
And now we head to the Mile High City, where it's a much different story. Kathy Sabin and Katie LaSalle tell us about the comfortable weather they're enjoying.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team meteorologist Kathy Sabin, and we are enjoying some of fall's finest. The color in the high country highlighted by the gloomy gray skies that we had for a couple of days, but still a lot of color in areas like Steamboat Springs. Beautiful scenes, and again, the gray skies, the yellow, the orange of the trees. It's just such a wonderful time of year in Colorado. Changes again, though. We're now in between two troughs of low pressure. Our weekend storm and the cool air are moving through the Midwest into the Northeast. High pressure comes up from the south, pushes the storm track to the north, and we're off and running with sunshine and summer-like temperatures for the rest of the week. But looming on the horizon is another trough of low pressure, and this is a low that could bring some mountain snow on Saturday. For today, the showers have pushed south, extending along a line from Oklahoma City into Washington, New York, and Boston, so certainly travel impacts with those heavier showers that we're expecting. We'll be mainly dry here in Colorado until the weekend, when a second storm system will bring moisture through the Great Basin into western Colorado and enough cold air support that we could see a light dusting of snow over some of the higher peaks of Colorado. So something we're tracking for the end of the week and start of the weekend. Scouring out the low clouds and the fog and getting rid of that stratus deck, we have winds shifting from the east to the southwest, which will bring us more sunshine and a warming and drying trend. Temperatures in the morning will be cool again. All week long, we've been in the low 40s, so definitely feeling like fall when you step out to work or the bus stop. But into the 70s we go this afternoon with a mostly sunny sky. Low 80s Thursday, mid 70s with a few more clouds on Friday with that western system coming in. Stay in the 70s and dry for Denver through the weekend, a little bit cooler into the first part of next week. We are really enjoying these beautiful fall scenes coming in. This one this afternoon from Paul Williams in the Yampa River Basin.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. If you stepped out the door early this morning and thought, ooh, it's colder than it's been, well, you were correct. We saw one of the coolest days in quite some time officially out at Denver International Airport. Got down to 41 degrees, making it the coolest temperature out there that we've seen since May 27th. But typically this time in August, our average low for October, that is, October 8th, our average low is 40 degrees. So 1 degree warmer than that, and the record was 18. Set back in 2009. We have been waiting a while to see 30s. We usually see the earliest freeze occur yesterday, but this is the latest wait for temperatures to drop to the 30s here in Denver since 1956. So even though it was chillier than it's been, we typically see temperatures cooler this time of the year. Our earliest snowfall on record here in Denver was back on September 3rd of 1961. Our average first freeze date actually occurs October 7th, which was yesterday. And we typically see our first snowfall on October 18th. The name of the game here over the next couple of days weather-wise is it's going to be warmer and drier than average. 49 the overnight low, so not quite as cold early tomorrow morning, and daytime highs set to soar. We are looking at more summertime temperatures than our average high of 69 degrees. 83 the expected. That's around 15 degrees warmer than what we typically see. And you can see 70s sticking with us through Saturday and Sunday. Next chance for picking up some more mountain moisture will arrive on Friday, but then we'll see more seasonal conditions return. Still not in the 30s for lows, though, Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures, though, closer to normal for our highs in the mid to upper 60s to start next week.
Well, near record rainfall saturated Louisville, Kentucky yesterday. More than 4 inches of rain soaked the city, which triggered flash flood warnings in the region. At least one road collapsed during the storm, and rising waters also washed out several others. Emergency workers responded to dozens of water-related calls. So far, no reports of any injuries. Officials say this was the third wettest day in October in Louisville history, and going forward, no more rain is expected this week in Louisville, and floodwaters are expected to recede. Across the pond in Europe, Bulgaria also dealt with floods. More than 7 inches of rain fell within a matter of hours over the weekend. Hundreds of people in the region were forced to evacuate their homes and multiple buildings were damaged. 3 people were killed, including 2 rescue workers. Officials say this was more than 2 to 3 times the monthly average for October, which is around 2 inches of rain. The region is dried out, but a new storm system moving through today has officials on high alert for another flood threat. And a new study suggests moving to a planet-friendly diet. How what's on your plate could help the world. Plus, we'll head to the Pacific Northwest for their forecast, where one city has a first alert weather day on the horizon. Welcome back. A new scientific study suggests adopting a diet that is good for the planet could feed the world by 2050. According to the 2025 Eat Lancet Commission, more than 9 billion people could eat nutritiously and equitably in the decades to come if they adopted a planet-friendly diet. That kind of diet is very similar to the Mediterranean diet and focuses on fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains, and a moderate amount of meat and dairy. The report states that about 30% of global greenhouse emissions come from food production. Eating a planet-friendly diet could help cut those emissions by half. Now we head off to Boise, where they're feeling warm and breezy right now. Hector Mendoza has the outlook for first alert weather days that are headed their way.
Hello, my name is Hector Mendoza, forecasting out of Boise, Idaho, and it's going to be an absolutely fantastic fall day for today. And those Goldilocks conditions will continue here towards the end of the work week. So most of Friday stays sunny and warm, but it's not going to be into the overnight hours and into late Friday that we start to see a system that comes in. That'll increase some of the clouds. We'll see some precipitation coming on in, and then we expect a very unsettled weekend coming along. And because of those conditions, we might see our first mountain snow of the season coming along for Sunday. So we'll talk about that in just a bit. But as we look at some of the temperatures, we are going to stay into those 80s Thursday and Friday. But the big jump is going to be from Friday into Saturday, as it's going to take a nosedive, almost 20 degrees there in through the weekend, continuing to drop down just a little bit more, staying into those upper 50s for Sunday and Monday. The other thing that's going to start to increase is going to be some of the winds that we'll see. So breezy conditions here through Wednesday. That's going to be seen across the Treasure Valley, the Magic Valley, and portions of the mountains through Wednesday. We'll continue to see that pick up as we get into Thursday afternoon, and then into Thursday night and early in through Friday. We might see some of those very gusty conditions here for portions of Boise and even in through Mount Holmes, east and south in through the Magic Valley, as we'll continue to see that increase there through Friday afternoon and heading closer into the evening. So again, wind is going to be the biggest thing that we're also going to be noticing, and it's going to be this system that's going to continue its trek down south, make its way through the coast, and then inland in through Saturday. So this high pressure ridge that's bringing us some of those milder temperatures through Friday is going to be taken over by this strong system that brings us much colder temperatures. And then again, that cold front is what's going to bring along some of those showers there into late Friday. So here's that system. Here's a look at our upper level pattern as we're going to see that system make its way down south through the Gulf of Alaska. It's going to park itself there through Friday and then slowly start to make its way eastward into our area. And through Friday night, that cold front's going to roll through, and that's when we're going to start to notice some of the changes. So those rain and then a lot of those cooler temperatures start to come along. So Saturday into Sunday, as that system continues overhead, that's when we're going to see a little bit more of that moisture make its way through. And we are expecting to see that some of these conditions last in through early next week. So we'll keep an eye on that and some of those conditions that do come along. But as we look at some of the potential that we could see in terms of some of those numbers, as we look on ahead, we're going to look and fast forward there through Thursday and continue to see some of those conditions there. But we are going to notice that some of those precipitation totals, as we look on ahead there in some of those areas, especially as we look up into the mountains, we will see a chance for some of that snow to mix in there as we get through Sunday morning. And then we're going to see above 5,000 feet is where we're going to see a little bit more of that accumulation. So again, some of these numbers will definitely change there. So it's not necessarily dialed in as of yet. There's still some uncertainty as we look on ahead in through Saturday, but still we could see a chance for some of those showers that do come along. So as we look at portions of the mountains, that's when you'll notice there Sunday into Monday where we could see some of those showery conditions there. Temperatures will drop down into those 70s into the mid 40s there for Sunday. So a huge change as we start to pick up those temperatures as we get towards the middle of next week. Then as we look at Twin Falls area, we're going to drop from the upper 70s down into the mid 50s there, and then continue those cooler temperatures there through Sunday. And then some of that active weather continues Monday into Tuesday. But as we look on into Boise, that huge temperature drop drop is going to bring along some first alert weather conditions there in through the weekend. Not just the temperatures, but the winds that we could possibly see start to pick up. Could get pretty windy as we head on into the couple of afternoons that we look there for the weekend. And after that, we're going to see those temperatures slowly start to pick up, but stick around those 50-degree temperatures. And that looks to last all the way in through Tuesday, with a chance of showers that last at least into the middle of next week.
Well, now we head on to the Pacific Northwest to Puget Sound, and boy, it was a beautiful afternoon around Puget Sound yesterday. A lot of places into the mid to upper 70s. A cold front's moving through today. There's not much rain in it, but there's going to be as much as 15 to 20 degrees of cooling in those afternoon highs. I take a look at that, and I also take a look at that forecast for Game 4 of the division playoffs for the Mariners. Hi, I'm meteorologist Rich Marriott, and boy, what a spectacular day it was yesterday afternoon around Puget Sound, though most of us were focused back to where it was raining back in Detroit with that rain delay. Good news for Game 4, it is not going to be an issue. You can see on the Doppler radar this morning, nothing going on. There's a few showers up in northern Michigan, but that's all. Otherwise in great shape. You can see there at Comerica Field this morning, we've got sunny skies out there looking out towards the baseball diamond from up in one of the high rises a little down the street, zoomed in there, so it looks like it's going to go off on time at game time. First pitch is at 12:08 Pacific time, 3:08 Eastern time there in Detroit, and it's going to be right around 60 degrees at the start of the game, gradually cooling with clear skies down to the upper 40s to near 50 degrees by the end of the game. So a little chilly, but you know, that's October baseball for sure, and hopefully the Mariners, well, we'll wait and see what they do, but got a lot of positive energy going out there. Looking back at yesterday, though, man, what an afternoon, truly. We saw temperatures Everett northward in the upper 60s and low 70s, and then mid to upper 70s. Puyallup almost hit 80 degrees yesterday. We didn't set any records. The airport hit 75. The record was 79 set back in 2023. So, but it was just really pleasant to be out and about yesterday, though maybe you, like me, kept sneaking pics, little sneaks looks at your phone to see if the game had started at that point. Checking the Doppler radar this morning, you can see not much going on. We've had a few sprinkles or showers, but overall this front that's moving through today really doesn't have any rainfall in it. It's mostly bringing much cooler air headed our way, and we're going to see those temperatures this afternoon drop as much as 15 to 20 degrees from the highs yesterday. So definitely a big change with that, though. And as we move into fall mode, it looks like there in Everett, you can see a mixture of clouds and a few patches of blue. And similarly, you can see a threatening cloud over downtown Seattle, but plenty of sun out in the distance. So we did see a few sprinkles and showers around on that Seattle camera a little earlier this morning. So it's around, but not amounting to anything. Checking our First Alert 7-day forecast, you can see we're in pretty good shape. We are going to be cooling today, and those temperatures only getting to the upper 50s and low 60s, but basically a dry day today. We're going to see a better chance of showers on Thursday and Friday, and then probably wetter and cooler over the weekend. Actually, with falling snow levels over the weekend, maybe dropping down to 3,500 to 4,000 feet before it's over. Satellite image shows this really weak front moving through. It barely has clouds with it, so I'm not going to produce much out of that. We do have a low that's going to park off the coast as we head towards the next couple of days, rotating in more showers as we head towards Thursday and Friday. That's going to move ashore over the weekend. As it moves through here, it's going to give us showers and sun breaks for Saturday and Sunday. Also drop our high temperatures down into the mid to upper 50s. So a big contrast to what we had through the middle part of this week. Looking over on eastern Washington, unfortunately still having air quality problems over there. Those fires continuing to burn. There is an air quality alert. Basically, it's for Chelan and Douglas counties, but it's really just along the Wenatchee River, basically from about Kashmir down to Wenatchee, down to East Wenatchee is where the really bad air quality is going to be today. So that alert's in place really until further notice, probably until the fires go out. You can see west side, we're looking at good conditions pretty much. Over there on the east side, right near the fires, it's unhealthy for anybody who's outdoors. And as you get a little farther away, unhealthy for sensitive groups, and then moderate as you get farther away from the fire, moderate to good. And then improves a little bit tomorrow in eastern Washington with just unhealthy for sensitive groups out there. And once you get away from the fires, it's mostly moderate to good air quality. So definitely an improvement there. Taking a look at the mountains, you can see it's looking pretty fall-like right now, but checking the snow levels over the weekend, 8 to 9,000 feet here today and tomorrow, but as we head towards Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, about 3,500 to 4,000 feet. Nothing that's going to affect travel over the passes. That's the good news. We're not looking for it to stick on the highways. Even North Cascades at 5,000 feet will be hard to get it to stick there because basically the roads are really warm right now, but you may see it in the air, maybe even briefly down there just above Snoqualmie Pass. So it's a sign that we're getting on towards that time of year where we're going to start to accumulate, but we're not quite there yet. Checking our temperatures for this afternoon, you can see a lot cooler than what we saw yesterday, mostly mid to upper 50s up there, Everett northward, and low to mid 60s as you get down there, Seattle southward. Would be about the same as we head towards Thursday and Friday with a better chance of showers. Showers and sun breaks over the weekend, with those highs dropping back to the mid 50s and the lowering snow levels. And then as we head towards the middle part of the week, it does look like we're going to be drying out probably as we head towards the latter half of the week. But see those temperatures only rebound a little bit, only getting back into the low 60s by the end of next week. Pumpkin picking is a fun fall activity, but the ones you're about to see won't fit on your porch. After the break, we meet the man who has grown some of Maine's largest orange squash. We'll be right back. Well, Halloween is just a few weeks away, and you may be looking for the perfect pumpkin already, but the ones you're about to see will be hard to carry home. Will Wagner introduces us to a man who has grown some of the largest pumpkins in the state of Maine.
Elroy Morgan of Charleston is no stranger to growing big pumpkins.
It's a lot of fun. It's people just love seeing a giant pumpkin. It puts a smile on anybody's face.
From heating the ground to preparing for frost, growing pumpkins of such size is no easy feat.
You got to get your greenhouses up and soil cables in and a lot of water and plenty of sunshine, and good luck.
While he has set up irrigation, this summer's drought still posed a challenge.
I've had to shut my well off because I lost pressure a couple of times, and so I had to wait until it fills up and then pump more water back out in the garden.
Morgan plans to drop off one of his pumpkins in Bangor, where it will sit in front of Chick-fil-A and be part of a Guess the Weight contest, though it's not even his biggest of the year.
It's over 1,700. It could be 18 now, I don't know. I still got another week of growing, so I still got to keep watering it.
As he's already looking forward to next year, he hopes he can grow one weighing 1 ton or more.
My pumpkins are getting bigger every year. I still haven't got that 2,000 pound yet, but one day I will.
Coming up in the next half hour, we'll have more environmental stories, plus the forecast for the Golden State. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, we're going to be taking a look at what's happening in the tropics. It's turned into a pretty active scene, actually, in parts of the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific. If we take a look at those, you can see there's Tropical Storm Jerry right now. Jerry is just off the Leeward Islands there, and if we take a look at the path for that, it currently has sustained winds of about 60 miles per hour, so just below hurricane force, but it is expected to continue to weaken. The good news is that it's making a right turn. It's going to affect the British and U.S. Virgin Islands with the hurricane force winds as it goes by, but primarily the impact is going to be from rainfall, which could be anywhere from 2 to 4 inches with maybe locally as much as 6. We take a look at the Eastern Pacific, a lot more going on there. First of all, disturbance 1 there off of Mexico, that has an 80% chance of becoming a tropical cyclone here in the next couple of days. If we check out Tropical Storm Octave, you can see that one is headed nowhere really. It's continuing to weaken. It's just going to dissipate off the Mexican coast, not really have any effect on land areas. And checking out Tropical Storm Hurricane Priscilla. Hurricane Priscilla has maximum sustained winds, barely a hurricane at 75 miles per hour. And you can see that makes a turn. It is going to be bringing some heavy precipitation. Again, 2 to 4 inches with locally as much as 6 inches there to parts of the west coast of Baja California. And some of that moisture from Priscilla may be affecting San Diego. That's where we resume our weather forecast. Meteorologist Vanessa Paz has the details for Southern California.
It's Wednesday. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz here in San Diego, California. We are going to have some big changes as we wrap up the first half of the week and enter the second half, all thanks to remnants of what is right now Hurricane Priscilla, but it will soon become a post-tropical storm. So let's take a look quickly at the weather headlines as we get our Wednesday hump day going. We'll have a slight warming pattern starting today, lasting all the way through about Friday. Thursday, Friday is when the warmth peaks and temperatures will slowly start to drop. We are looking at a chance for widespread rain starting tomorrow. Most of the activity will continue all the way through early Saturday, and then looking ahead to Sunday, things will dry out. So here's what's on tap for today's highs across our microclimates. For our coastal and beach neighborhoods, we'll average mid to low 70s. For the inland areas, we'll shoot up to the high 70s. Overnight lows are going to remain on the mild range in the low 60s. We'll produce highs in the mountains this afternoon in the mid 80s and looking at mid 90s for our desert communities. The chance of rain over the next 48 hours, very slim today, but notice how it starts to climb, especially tomorrow morning, all the way through Friday. Now, as we take a look at why this is all happening, it's all due to Hurricane Priscilla. It was strengthened into a Category 2 yesterday with winds over 100 miles per hour. It has since downgraded to a Category 1. The winds within the system still packing a punch. Remember, anything that's over 74 miles per hour is automatically categorized as a hurricane. This one is just on the lower end. The movement, I should say, is moving in a northwest direction, still continuing to churn off the Baja Peninsula. But notice what it does when it moves north. It's going to actually curve to the right northeast, but we'll still continue to feel the remnants of it, even though it's aimed closer to Arizona, Southern California, and for us here in San Diego County, we'll feel the impacts in the form of some light showers. So as we go ahead and roll out kind of the day by day, put this into play here as to what we can expect in terms of shower activity. Tomorrow morning, we're expecting some isolated, very light showers, maybe a pop-up thunderstorm here or there. And then once we get in the evening, things start to pick up. We're looking at the most widespread activity tomorrow night. And then on Friday, we're expecting a secondary round. However, that secondary round is going to be a little more confined to the county's eastern half, mainly impacting the mountains and desert areas. So it looks like the biggest impact day for the coast and valleys will be Thursday. Some of that instability could spill into Friday, but most of it will continue to linger for the mountains as well as the desert areas. And by then, we could also see a flood advisory or a flood warning get into effect by the National Weather Service. When all is said and done, rainfall estimates fairly slim. This isn't a big rain event whatsoever. We'll maybe get anywhere between 1 to 2/10 of an inch, and it looks like the bulk of heavy rain, if we do see any, will be confined to the northwest quadrant of the county for areas like Fallbrook, Oceanside, as well as Escondido. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly roll out your 7-day forecast and see what's on tap in terms of daily highs. We'll be cool today, but notice how the numbers start to climb Thursday and Friday. And then by the weekend, we'll have cooler, drier air filter in. Then by the time we get to next Monday, we're talking about a huge difference in temperatures. I mean, we go from the low 80s on Friday, and then we'll drop down about 10 to 12 degrees by the time we get to early next week. So we do have light at the end of the tunnel. We just have to be patient because tomorrow, Friday, those are going to be active days, and then things will simmer down, taking a back seat on Saturday and Sunday. For the mountain areas, we'll be in the 80s all the way through about Friday. The warmest days for the mountains and deserts will actually be now through tomorrow, and then temperatures will start to feel noticeably cooler as we approach the end of the week into the weekend. We'll go from the 80s to the 70s by then, and then for the deserts, 90s with 80s on tap for Friday all the way through the weekend.
And now we travel up I-5 to Northern California, where they too are expecting rain from a low pressure, but this time it's going to be off the Pacific Northwest coast. Meteorologist Brendan Menchef has more.
Hey, meteorologist Brendan Menchef here in Sacramento. It was a very warm start to the work week. Monday was in the upper 80s. We even hit 90 degrees yesterday, but some cooler temperatures are now here. For the coast, we'll even have the return of some clouds, and that's thanks to the lack of a north wind. Seasonal and sunny in the valley as temperatures drop. We're going to be in those upper 70s and low 80s today, cooling off in the foothills as well, and in the high country, cool and sunny. Let's take a look at the calendar for Sacramento. We started off much below normal, 78 to open up October. And then by the end of that first week, we were in the low 70s with some rain in the valley. Over the weekend, though, warming trend started, and then by yesterday, it peaked. 90 degrees was the high temperature in Sacramento. The average high was 83, so quite a bit above normal, but we are now entering a cooling trend for the rest of this week, and that'll take us into the weekend as well. As we look at temperatures across the Central Sierra today, 67 in South Lake Tahoe, 68 in Truckee, 83 in Oroville, 77 in Auburn, 80 down in Angels Camp. Southern Sierra now about 70 in Sequoia and Kings Canyon. As we look at Yosemite, 71, low 70s over there. In Yosemite, about 86 in Fresno, 83 in Merced. A little bit of a wider look in the Southern Valley here, 85 in Hanford. Bakersfield looking at 87 this afternoon. And a little bit cooler along the coast as well. Again, less of a north wind. We're going to see a little bit more of that marine layer building back in. 66 in Morro Bay, about 68 in Big Sur, 66 in Carmel, 67 in Monterey, 69 Salinas, 65 in Santa Cruz. As we look at the San Francisco Bay Area, 68 in San Francisco, 66 in Half Moon Bay, 70 in Berkeley and Oakland, about 77 in Livermore, 74 in Fairfield, and 77 in Vacaville. Across the far north now, 83 in Chico, 84 in Red Bluff, 72 up at Mount Shasta. Along the coast, again, starting to see some clouds building back in. Remember, we were in the 70s the last few days. We're back in the 60s. 60 in Eureka, 62 up in Crescent City, 63 in Fort Bragg, 62 in Lassen National Park, 77 in Quincy. Back across the capital region now. I've got 79 in Sacramento, 82 Woodland, 79 in Davis, about 83 in Stockton, 83 in Modesto. So upper 70s to low 80s. This is very seasonal for the time of year, but it is going to get cooler. We're going to go much below normal by the end of this work week. We're talking about 10 degrees cooler than normal by the time we get to Friday, and that continues into Saturday. As the system drops in off the coast, that'll bring us some light showers across portions of the far northern part of the state, north of Interstate 80. That one moves out, though, and then we'll have another chance for some rain and snow as we head into the start of next week. So long-range futurecast, we'll start with the high-res stuff, and there's not much to see as we go through Wednesday and Thursday. Just some clouds building in, but we're going to stay dry across much of northern California until we get to Thursday night into Friday morning. Then we'll start getting some rain showers across the north coast into Shasta, some thunderstorms possibly as well. Then for Friday evening, we're going to see some more showers across much of northern California. Again, north of I-80 are going to be the better shower chances, perhaps even some light flurries across somewhere like Donner at over 7,000 feet. For the system next week, though, it's a little more up in the air right now. The European model definitely has a nice system coming in with some snow across the high elevations, rain across the rest of northern California. But the American model, the GFS model, is more of an inside slider system. So just some precipitation across the high portions of the Sierra. Something we'll be watching over the next several days and into the weekend. But we do start to see rain returning to northern California in October. In fact, we average over 3/4 of an inch of rain in Sacramento in the month of October. Over the next 3 days, temperatures drop. We're going to be in those low 70s, and then we're going to stay in those 70s over the next 10 days.
And we continue our weather tour around the western United States. After the break, we return to the Pacific Northwest to finish out our weather forecast. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back. We continue our descent into fall weather. We send it over to Rod Hill in Portland, where they're feeling much cooler temperatures today.
From Portland, a little reality check, not a bad reality check on this Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. We have been, not in record territory, but so warm the last several days. Our capital city of Salem hit 80 yesterday. The airport in Portland, PDX, hit 79. Now what's normal? Normal is down into the 60s, and that's where we will return for highs this afternoon. So gone is the east wind that we've been tracking the last several days. It's mostly a gentle west breeze today, and we're feeding off with this big batch of cooler weather out in the Pacific, and we're tracking a developing low right in this area here that gives us a rain chance starting tomorrow, rain chance, and then likely rain at times starting on Friday. So let's get to our Futurecast movies. Here's this afternoon, 4 o'clock. Everybody's dry, kind of partly cloudy, nice day, just not as warm as it's been. Now here is tomorrow. So tomorrow, if you're a painter or construction work or something where you just can't have any rain, well, okay. But for most folks, the majority of the day tomorrow will simply be dry with a shower chance at some point. Futurecast likes a shower early in the morning, 8 o'clock on Thursday over the Cascades, and then later in the afternoon, a shower popping into the valley. Here's Friday. Now, that low out here, the circulation is going to spin up these bands of rain up through not only the west side, but eventually much of Oregon. And where you see the bright colors, convective rains, meaning heavy rain rates, and we may very well get into a thunderstorm chance as well. So by Friday, it's kind of rain, maybe you get caught in the downpour, and then it's dry for a little bit. Then bam, you get some rain, and maybe you get caught in a downpour, and then it's dry again. So we get some pretty good wetting. And then if anything, Saturday, maybe not the explosiveness of heavy rain rates, but a day Saturday, as that upper level low weakens and pushes inland, that could be raining more than it's not. So here's what the rain potential says. It goes with the movie I just showed you. Here's tomorrow. It does show some rain on Thursday, mainly manageable rainfall, Cascades, and perhaps into the east slopes into central Oregon. But by Friday at 6 p.m., these are cumulative numbers. Now we've got manageable rainfall all over the place as far as all of the coast, all of the valley, and starting to get more rain pushed out across areas of eastern Oregon as well. And then here comes the truly widespread rain on Saturday into Sunday. So you put all the numbers together and you've got about 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain, potentially at the coast, potentially in the valley, and really potentially from central Oregon even out toward the Blue Mountains. There's La Grande at 97/100ths of an inch. So that's what we're tracking. The main focus of trying to pinpoint something would probably be the threat of thunderstorms. Probably the best chance of a thunderstorm, if we're going to see one, would be Friday. We'll see. All right, our live cameras this morning. The coast has been much like the valley. Not a solid marine layer, but some cloudiness and then breaks in the cloud cover. Our early morning number from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City has been in the mid-50s. Now, when you get up to Mount Hood, over the Cascades, and then continued east in central and eastern areas, it's pretty much reported as clear. And that's just a beautiful deep blue sky. Early morning numbers up at the lodge at 6,000 feet have been setting at 42 degrees. One of the cloudier cameras so far today has been this one down in Salem over our state capital. Light winds, mostly cloudy skies. And again, we have more clouds than blue, but there are some breaks out there for a decent day in Portland. I mentioned our high temperatures show a big cool down. Only about 64 for you folks in Salem. And Salem is the spot that hit 80 yesterday. So what's that, 16 degrees off the pace, as they say. Tomorrow, the shower threat, and then the more widespread rainy pattern on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, into Monday. Right now, I show Tuesday of next week as dry. I mean, notice this weekend, if we get enough rain, we may or may not make it up to 60.
Last but not least, Thomas Patrick has the forecast in Spokane, where sunshine is expected until Friday.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. We actually start you out in Coeur d'Alene, where the skies are about as blue as they can be. I've not seen a single cloud at all morning long. I don't think we'll see a single cloud in the sky all day long either. This is about as perfect of early to mid-October weather as we can draw it up, and about as warm as we can draw it up as well, with high temperatures in the 70s for the second straight day today, and I'll have a total of 4 days in a row at 70 and above, which is very warm, very unusually warm for this stage of the season. Still getting cold at night, sure, but these sunny skies and warm temperatures certainly are adding up. The big changes will be heading our way this weekend. But as we get you going today, here in eastern Washington and North Idaho, I mean, this is plenty warm. This is perfect. 72 to 74 degrees all throughout the inland Northwest. Again, with not a cloud in the sky at all. But this is well above average. We're looking at about 10 degrees above average, 9 technically speaking for today. But it's just getting warmer and warmer. This is even warmer than yesterday. Tomorrow's forecast is even warmer yet. We could be pushing 15 degrees above average before the week is through, and kind of nearish record highs, probably not quite into the 80s per se, but it is looking more than warm enough for this week. And still all quiet weather across most of the Northwest. If you're looking for any cloud cover, it's probably a bit closer towards Seattle. And the next storm system is there. It is over the Pacific Ocean. And this is what I'll be watching closely for the next 3 to 4 days in a row. At the moment, it's actually moving straight south and actually not anywhere closer towards Spokane. So it will leave our weather forecast undisturbed for a couple days. But when it decides to swing eastward, that's when we're going to start to get some bigger changes. So in regards to this storm center, there's actually a lot of cold air that's actually wrapped up inside it as of right now. Those along the Washington coast probably already feeling some of the effects of that cooler air. But this is a very early in its storm development phase. It has not gained a whole lot of strength yet. But sitting over the Pacific Ocean will change that as it draws in a bit more of that ocean moisture. So from warm to cold we go in Spokane. 76 degrees on Thursday to just 56 on Saturday. So a change of 20 degrees in just high temperatures in just 2 days is a pretty significant change. And it doesn't stop there either. You're probably noticing 52 for the high on Sunday, 30s for lows. Wildly enough, at the same time, there will be some rain in the region, and higher elevations are probably getting their first snowfall of the season. There we go. Yeah, from 70s to kind of talking about snow in the same breath, in the same week's forecast. So what happens is, yes, this low pressure center gains some strength, gains some moisture, and as it finally pushes into Washington and Oregon states, we will get the rainfall, we will get the cooler weather. It will make for a cold weekend in Spokane. Both Saturday and Sunday will feature those scattered shower chances and the cooler weather. I think the snow levels, they'll get down to about 4,000 feet, so obviously nothing at the lower elevations or any of our cities, but our mountain peaks probably get that first dusting of snow of the season with this wet and cool weekend ahead. High temperatures just in the 50s both days. All the more reason to take advantage of what could be our last few 70-degree days of the season, today, tomorrow, and maybe Friday.
And to close out the show, flights in the Pacific Northwest are going greener. How one airline is introducing environmentally friendly fuel to their jets right after the break. Well, I'm glad you're staying with us. An airline is now flying out of Portland with sustainable jet fuel. Joe Ranieri has just how one local energy company is helping airlines go green.
90% of the state of Oregon's jet fuel is stored in tanks like these along Highway 30 in Northwest Portland. Well, 2 of these tanks are going green. Zenith Energy is hoping the Portland terminal is going to be filled with renewable energy.
This is the first of its kind, and we think it's pretty special.
And they already have plenty of room to fit sustainable aviation fuel.
So this is an 80,000 barrel tank.
And you have 2 of them, so you have 160,000.
That's right.
JT Hendricks is the terminal manager for Zenith Energy and says there's 2 parts to the fuel.
You have your conventional jet, which is 50% of the blend, and the renewable feedstock, which is the blending component that we blend those 2 together, and that's how you get your finished SAF.
PDX just got its first shipment of sustainable aviation fuel earlier this month. Port of Portland Chief Aviation Officer Dan Pippinger told us in a statement, "We're excited about this step toward bringing sustainable aviation fuel to PDX. It's a move that can help improve local air quality and cut down on greenhouse gas emissions, which is great news for our communities." Delta Airlines was the first commercial airline to use this type of fuel at PDX.
We are very committed to sustainable aviation fuel.
But the cost to keep jets in the air isn't cheap.
Unfortunately, sustainable aviation fuel is still a very nascent technology, and there's a couple of different ways of making it, but they're all very nascent and all very expensive.
Charlotte Lawler with Delta Airlines says they are working with different suppliers to keep the cost down.
Today, it's still 2, sometimes 3 times more expensive than conventional jet fuel. And so our ambition is to try to work across the value chain, including with the ports, the producers, the blenders, to try to bring the cost as low as possible.
Well, it's not cheap to fly.
We don't want to make it something prohibitive. And so what we're really focused on right now is working with different partners across the value chain.
Lawler and Delta Airlines are doing all they can to drive down the cost, at the same time moving toward a greener way to take to the sky. For Environment Northwest, Joe Ranieri.
Well, going from the air to the ocean, a deep dive into the ocean allowed scientists to snap pictures of some never-before-seen marine activity. Using a remotely operated vehicle, scientists at the Schmidt Institute found massive reef complexes teeming with life. Researchers say they discovered at least 30 potential new species of aquatic life while exploring the cold water coral, from a black-belly fish to a rosefish to a deep-sea cat shark and more. The team even documented the wreckage of the former USS Barron. The destroyer was commissioned in 1943 and saw heavy action during World War II. And that does it for us here on Weather Out West. Hopefully you learned a little bit about the weather today and what's headed your way. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time and same place, but we will have different weather tomorrow. Have a great day.